Hello, everyone. This is Generally AI, Space-Time Creator. All communication systems, all levels, and high center interference. Why is it so important to understand what we are? Why is it so important to understand who we are through computer? Why is it so important to understand how we are in operation? Well, it's all levels of view from inside. So we're going to go into time sequence, time code, time division to understand all levels of the clocking system. You got 24 line centers in the positive, and you got 24 line centers in the negative locations. So it's all about understanding how to use the positive and negative locations. 48, 72, 144. Okay, this is all levels of how you use your seconds, minutes, hours, and days. Okay, so we're going to get into that calculations. Right now, let's see how everybody's doing. All right, we also have Zoom today. All right, so you shouldn't have any problem getting into my link tree. Really, really understand keeping positive will open the signal to its link. Okay, getting angry or frustrated doesn't open the link locations because you're adapting its position of travel. Okay, because the brain is intercepting its calculation to its interfacing. So it's a true understanding through calculations. All right, Pam, Madeline, Christine, Jill, Amby, Don, Terry, Michael, Airbender, Heather, Communication System, Loveless, Lindsay, Gypsy. All right, so as we get started, Tara. All right, so I want to show you how powerful it is. What the concept is truly understanding all levels when you get these things into all levels of an equation. All right, so let's start off position locations. I'm going to show you how powerful it is when you see these things. You're going to travel very quickly. All right, I'm going to set something up in a formula, and you're going to understand how powerful it is when you travel through these things. Okay. Okay, let's start with this location. All right, so this is a box. We already know that, right? This is an equal line. This is communication. This is an operation. Operation, Z graph. Okay, Z graph. Okay, so it comes position location here. Everything has to be in line signal. That's how it's set up the graph location of the computer line. Triangulation equals flux capacitor. Right? You guys are going to travel through it. All right. Traveling through this is to understand the Z graph line system. So, what is the center operation? Z graph location. Right? Because it's U through division. So you set up a Z graph line interference to a box line. Now, if the box line changed position location, it's coming into a rainbow graph location of T reception. Now it's a TV. See how that works? So it's in position of directions. So it's high signals into the center operation line center. Okay. So it's like understanding you how to connect with this, how to connect with that, understanding this, understanding that. This helps you and always informs. Right? So you got a T reception box line equals line communication of operation / operation location. Z graph line center to a triangle line center or pyramid equals flux capacitor. You guys just travel through it. Now, trying to understand what it is all levels of U, right? So this is how the brain interprets everything. Okay, it's trying to understand position, location, and directions. Now, setting signals, white graph interference, you have to introduce location of the sun, the moon, and all levels of U through travel. All right, so in calculations, when you're setting up a shape, what are you shaping? Are you shaping a triangle? If it's a triangle, is it a triangle through 3, 6, and 9? Is it a triangle locations, a 3-point location? Okay, or is it a triangle through a graph? Which triangle are you connecting to? So you have to interpret locations and what's going on with the brain. So if the brain wants to get into triangulation, it's all in one location. All right, all one location. See? So it's interpreting 3, 6, 9. Point locations in the O-line center, and everything through is triangle of its graph. Okay, all in one sequence. So it's a mechanism of travel line center interference. It's a positive high center line conditions. All right. So you got positive position location. Let's go through high interference of red. You always have to introduce the color. If you don't introduce the color, you're going to get graph screen locations of deleting program. Okay, so perception equals line. equals teleportation equals telegraphing equals transisting, okay, equals equation. Okay. So it's the reason why there's two lines center panel line in rotation into transition. Transisting location equals lines of all levels. You can change this into on position locations. Remember, you're always using the alphabetical stream system, and it's all levels are clocking locations. Planetary system, perception line conditions. All right. So it's all about understanding how you are doing this through plantation. It equal lines its line center location to its teleportation, telecommunication, or teleline centers. A teleline center is its telegraphing location equals to its transition, to its position, to its equation. So in high center line in rotation, you guys are traveling through this. So it's sure to understand how to set these things up. It's very powerful when you understand line conditional levels. Now we got two line interference. Let's go in direction location to this. It's very powerful. Okay, so we line conditions all levels, one line system. Okay, now you got 24 line. Okay, equals negative line rotation. Negative equals 24. Okay, positive equals 24. Let's start with that. Okay, so you get a negative line in a positive line. So you have to understand how to bring the negative into the positive of the negative. Okay, because the positive equals the negative, which basically puts position locations to your Merkaba location of transportation to its calculation. All right. So understanding how to get this is understanding the 24 negative and the 24 positive, but you got to bring the negative over. Okay, because if you don't bring it over, you're in the physical line center of its ego. Okay, so let's start through that signal location. Now, as you go into a line, if you're referencing locations, negative reference, not negative high center voice location or anything through voice command. All right, white graph line center in rotation interference. As we're in calculation modification signal, let's go through the same thing. Okay, but this time it's going to be through the sun line. There's a sun line. Interesting, a sun line through purple. But where's the sun? Right here. Where's the moon? Right here. Where's you? Right here. Right? 369. You have to platitude division location and use your computer operation line interference. It positions locations to you in all lines. All right. So in position, you start off at the 24. Okay. 24, 48, 72, and 144. Okay. And then you go again. You go from 24, 48, 72, and 144. Okay. So it's your understanding you have the positive line, positive equals 24, 48, 72, and 144. That's a positive. And the negative line is the same thing, 24, 48, 72, 144. So if you're creating a negative line center interference position of the 24 clocking system, you are going in position locations from the past. Negative equals past. See how that works? So the past brings it forward, okay, which creates an anomaly, a space line. Okay, so what it does is it reverts locations and creates high line center to a fluctuation line conditions. All right, so this is the gateway line center location of its past because you're bringing back in the past in the now. So what's happening is that when you're going to the negative cycle, you're going into the past and you're bringing the past forward into now where you are, which is the Orion's belt in the positive line center location of its stargate. So this is the position of directions where you lost signals in future line. So it's about understanding if you bring in the negative forward, you're creating dark matter. Okay. But if you're in the positive line, okay, and you're going from 24, 48, 72, 144, you're bringing things into the future, but you're also bringing it back into the now. So it's interesting how you're bringing things forward. So it's like a 24-hour window, which is 1 day line system. 48 is 2, 72 is 3, and so on and so on. So it's all about understanding the more you go in positions of second, minutes, hours, and days. Let's say you track locations and you got 3 day line system. You're already 3 days ahead of schedule, which is amazing. So you got 3 days of information ready and set. So when I come across the drawing and the travel, you're looking at, wait a minute, I already drew this. I'm already ahead of schedule. So you're getting already information on a 3 day window. So that's what window means. 3 day window graph position, which means you're coming into its imagination, right? Which is in its future, coming back. Coming back is going forward. So it's trying to understand, don't get confused at position locations. It's you centering its high system to the physical line, which is always going to be the 9 of its 1%. Okay. But it's trying to understand how to use the negative line to go into the past and bring it forward, because you're creating dark matter, dark ground, dark central system, dark line, dark communication, dark intelligence, dark planet. All right. So dark portal. Do you see what goes on every time you get into the negative system? But if you change position, location of directions, it changes its high line and redirects its signal location. So you can change the negative line rotation into a positive position, right? So negative is always positive because the brain doesn't set a center line in rotation. It doesn't understands the ego. Okay? The brain is always in the future line. The mind is in its future line. So the brain sets up the image through the image to the illustration, to the diagram, to the program. And the mind sets the intent to travel location to its position. So you have the intent, you have the will, you have the force, you have the creation, and you have the location, right? So negative equals positive, positive equals travel. So you bring the negative in position location here. Positive equals travel, positive equals time, positive equals line center in position to directions. So time is everything through locations of yin and yang. Okay, so it's all position, location, and directions. It opens all line center and high position location, right? So you come into the 9 central line system and you come into 6 plateaus in position of program setting locations of its moon, right? So it's interesting how you use line graph location to its position. So it coordinates high center. So let's go through time. Okay, well, let me do the graph interference. Time, okay. This is very easy. Time equals equation. But where is the location? Time is the equation. Well, the question is all levels of time. But what you do through position location is already set in high center of 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6, and 9. Okay. 3, 6, 9. Okay. Or you can go up at top. 3. Okay. You can change the 6 to 9. You can change the 9 to 6. Okay. And then you go into 12. Whatever you want to do. It's all levels of time through its equation. All right. So it's Trinity stating what travel it means to you, right? So calculation, modification line centers, motion sensors, communication, high interference, triangle force line centers, trifactor. So you got a trifactor location. Okay. Tri equals factor. Okay. Factor. Okay. Equals time. So you circle that high interference location, the high system. Trifactor is factor over communication of factor line center location of time. So you understand that line center interference. It positions of its directions. So you have clocking system, okay, of time. Rainbow graph line center. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 clocking system. Now you have a diamond core in the center line. Triangle line and force line in rotation position locations, right? And direction. Now, this opens all signals to the fluctuation line positions of all levels. Okay? Now, in position location, you have to exactly know what you're doing. Okay? You're going to see intelligence come into high interference. You got a Fibonacci square line. There it is. Fibonacci square line. Okay? You got a spin cycle line rotation, levels of line communications of 2-atom line rotation, 2 in the outline circle. See that? T-line frame. Calculation on line center. Circle interference location to box sequence. Center point location. See? Now, you got a circle line high line center of a graph line rotation and position location of the T reception line. There you go. Ooh, balance. All through track locations. So different time sequencing time codes of shaped lines. So the brain is set up an interpretation to its interface line. It's communicating to all sequence locations. All right. So I'll get you guys in the simulation. High interference line position and directions, code signal locations, box center times pi times calculation. Docile dock, high center line conditions, tango tango, Echo Zulu 1, open out communication, crew units, squad units, 1, 2 position location and directions. Go into GFL lights, communication council, communication line streams, and position of simulation. Simuli, high line center locations, graph interference, high position location of travel, simulation, high center line conditions, pixel activation, stream interference, more calculation to sun, and more line center program locations in the moon. Set course line channels into all position location, to all lines into the rebellion location, in high center location is sending mass communication, sensing gods. Set course line triangle. All right, so you guys are traveling very fast line center location, simulation location. As you guys are in that high center interference, let's say where we are through track location. Okay. All right. Let's see. Merging all shapes. Yeah. So it's basically, it's not just the grounds of you guys. You have to really understand what you're doing. It's the most important thing when you get up in the morning. How do I understand everything through its equation? Well, it's all levels of you. Through time, through space. You're creating the space through time. Time capacitor, time formation, time calculation, time lock, time division, time center. So it's all levels of you, what you're doing through your connection. Yeah, everything on course. Yeah. Thumbs up, Bender. Yeah. Michael Communication Line Center. What's his job locations? Towers and communication. And you guys. So you have to understand also 3-line center interference. He knows exactly what he's doing, and so should everybody else. See, this helps out more levels of you how to get your abundance through manifestation, right? Because it coordinates, it calculates, it modifies all levels through your GPS line. Okay, GPS. But you have to understand all-line center to fluctuation line position. See how I turned the G? It's not a G anymore, is it? But it has a flux capacitor. See how I added it? I'm adding the G. So it's a flux capacitor line stand, lights in position, direction, location, center position to its grounds. It's a flower. I turn the G into a flower. In position location comes into high line center locations to a tree. Ooh-ah, right? So it's in a tree formation, a perception location of system. So it's all line center location to its sector line conditions. Now you bring in the sun line center. So this is all line center perception. Now I can change the perceptions into high line center, change the coloration, position location to balance, right? Tree formation line center into balance location into system. Change the system locations into symbiotic. Okay, symbiotic line center, geometry interference, and position location high system. Puts position location to a clocking line center location. Right? So this is what it is to location. All through GPS. You guys have to go way, way beyond the mind. And the only way you can understand that is all levels of structure and how you do these things through its brain system. The brain is all levels of you through imagination to its phenomena. It's creating the thought of image to its diagram. The mind, okay, gets the position location to its location. You're using telekinesis to the brain is sending to the mind is sending it to its location, and that's how you get things to manifestation. Okay. So it's truly understanding how to use your thoughts on the positive or negative, right? So if you got a box line center, what is a box line center? What is that through calculation? Well, let's get into the grounds. So the ground line center, let's open all position location. This is the grounds. Box is in the center. Okay. Now we got a line communication up. Okay. We have a graph line center going down, position of an arrow, triangulation force line into a pyramid, pyramid position location into low grounds, into a high line center, interference location and position. Now that opens all signal locations to a bigger box location to its position, overlapping, overdriving. Okay, in calculations. Setting course read channels in high center location to its crop circle location. See the teleportation unit? See the capsule? Use the energy lights, energy rotation center interference. Opens up the orb location to its direction. Sets up recourse line channels. Okay, in a torical field. Opens up E field line rotations calculation. So you truly have to understand how to use all lines of course, all through structure. But what you're doing is you're imaging the thought. Right? So let's say graph interference, done. It's already done. So the mind sends it out because the brain is already set up through its image. The diagram's already set up. So the waiting process is for you to let go the sequence. Because if you don't, you're backtracking, clocking its offline position. You're changing your coloration line streams into a line in a rotation to its dark matter location. You're creating dark matter in position location of sonar, redirecting line center locations in position location, offline connections into virus line center in a computer operation line interference location of confusion. Created a black hole. Congratulations. Now, when you create a black hole, you have to be cautious because a black hole is all representation in how you use your emotions, how you use your calculation to its motion locations. Because that's all you live on 7 days a week, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? But is it 7 days a week, right? Think about it. The acceleration line center, interference locations. Let's go into all position locations. Now, open all communications system, 7 days, okay, in signal line interference. So the more memory releases position locations into negative cycles equals line center. Let's bring it 4 locations. Green line center is the heart. So 7 equals 6. 6 equals 5. 5 equals 4. 4 equals 3. 3 equals 2. And 2 equals yin and yang. Okay. So as you're bringing graph line centers, the 7 position changes as track line center comes into higher line position location of direction. All right. So you have the 7 location, right? And then you set locations of security measures, rotation to its position, right? So what you're doing is you're boxing its position, location, and direction. Opening up high line center locations of its center line, okay? Now the outer line center goes in position location of 6, right cross location, in position location of 5, in position of 4, in position of 3, in position of 2, in position of 1, yin and yang location. Travel line center, interference position of direction, right? All levels of flux capacitor. Opens all communication centers into its ground line system. Ooh-ah. All through calculation. So your job is to basically release all program line centers in position of direction, implantations from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? That is position of blast off. So you understand the high line center locations, but it always has to be positive as you're releasing location from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because there's no graph interference, guys. There's no 7 days a week in space and time, only the now. So your position location has to get into high line center in position location of its directions, point location of its atom line system to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or anything through position of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But your line center is all levels of you. So you're tracking interference locations into 24. into 48, into 72, and 144. Ooh, 24, 48, 72, 144. Right? So balancing your communication, staying in the pods and line system, and staying off track of position puts you in all lines of recourse line system back online. Putting yourself back on line puts you in a high line center to 144, two position locations to high line channels to 244. Okay? So the faster you go back, the more you get younger. Interesting how you look at those things because you're going more into the future line. Because the thing is, the physical line center has to catch up position, location, and directions. So the brain is already intercepting its line of its thought. The imagination is already in its position locations. Okay? So it's incredible how you travel through these things. So it's about releasing line graphs of 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you realize you are in one position to one line center to all line connections of balanced communications of yin and yang. Okay? So, and then you can start from yin and yang if you want. I mean, if you want to go higher. Once you balance line communication cycles, it sets regeneration light centers and interference. It opens up position locations of its directions. Recourse high channels. So it's incredible how you change this line interference location of directions. It opens all communication line system to its position. All right. So it's important you understand what shape you are connecting to. Is it a triangle? Is it an interface of a triangle? Is it a graph line center of a triangle? Is it on a 24 signal? Is it on a 48 window? Is it on a 72 graph? Is it on a 144 crystal activation system? If you're in position locations of 144, let's start there. 144, we start there. 144 equals 644. Okay, 644 is 1044. 1044 is high line center locations, okay, at 1 million position locations. 1 million location. So this is about understanding how to balance everything through all levels of you and how you use your thought lines. Because if you're using your thought lines and balance interference position locations, you're coming into trifactors of factor and mitigations of time. All right. So it's important to understand these things, right? You're trifactoring through its factoring communication of its manufacturing line system. So it's all about understanding how to put A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, or Z. Now the Z graph line center is set up position, location, and directions. But to understand the sequence pattern is to go from high line center locations from Z or Z to positions of A. So you start with Z, right? Understand the alphabet line stream. Z equals alpha. Alphabet. Ooh, multipass. So now you know what alpha means. The alphabet. All right. So the alphabet comes into the alpha line center. Then it comes in position location, high line interference location at delta line. Delta communications. Delta division. Delta rotation. Delta line division line connected computer operation line interference. Space command center locations of Z graph location equals line center line interference location alpha. Alpha Bravo communications line stream. Open communication of sonar. Knowing exactly what you're doing in chronological order. This is going to help you in always informs how to use your alphabetical system locations of alpha. All right. I bet you guys didn't know that, did you? That's what alpha stands for. Alphabet. So the alphabet at line center is position location of 26 letters. So let's take that position location directions. Okay, so you got the sun line. Remember, you have to represent where you're going through the sun in position, the moon in position, location of the same color. So the sun's here, the moon's here, okay, and you are in the center. You are on the ground line, okay. This is you in position of electrical light conditions. You can be anything division locations, electrical lights, electrical interference, and position of direction. That's you in the center, okay. So it's truly understanding all levels of you through travel. Now you can change your coloration line interference in position locations, 3-line division location at grounds, right? So you got 3-line position locations in high center locations. All right. So set in position of graph line centers. Now you can use your panel line rotation communication line system. You always have to set up a tube because it's all communication. So you got your torical fields, high interference location noise calculation. Now that opens up all lines of an orb line center rotation. That communicates high interference. Now you can change the coloration path. Now, this is really fascinating stuff, where you can actually merge into something else in a 24, 48, 72, or a 144. If you're in 144, you're now in higher formation of XT thousands, okay, as the Merkaba change its position of direction. As long as you stay in the positive line, you're going to get more information from its future, which brings you back in division of the now, of the physical line. So the physical line says, oh, I understand the 4-day graph now because it's already there for me when I need it. Okay? So it's kind of like asking yourself, it's already there. So when you need it, it's there for you. It's there for you. It's like you're walking on the street and all of a sudden somebody's coming at you and you're in an altercation. You know exactly to put your hand up because it's coming back to you. So that time frame changes its position into the future, into the now line center, knowing exactly to put your hand up for altercations if you get in a situation with somebody. It's brought into your attention. Okay? So it's all about paying attention to these things and what the brain is surfacing, right? Because the mind is its location. Okay? So you're creating the high center location of energies. E equals mc squared, or E equals m velocity of diamond. So your calculation is all levels in how you see yourself through travel location. So when you go in that position locations, you can set up high line centers. You can actually turn yourself into a higher formation location of a tetrahedron. All right. Or you can set another line center locations into another line position location directions. So you can set up new course line center location of a channel. Higher formation line centers all levels. So a tube line center in position of its directions. Security line defense graphs its position locations to its position. All right. Because you understand the digital line center of view is all levels of view. How you use it is all levels of coordinates through the GPS line center. How I took GPS into a tree formation location, right? It's crazy how you do these things because it's all levels of view to understand all line connection. How you turn the G into a tree formation, okay? How you change the P into balance line center. How you change the system location to its Merkaba. So it's trying to understand how to do these things, guys, all right? So you got equation line. You can go back force line channel. Okay, equation line center, back force. This is back force. Okay, this is forward line. Okay, back force and forward line. You got the equal line. All right, you need the equal line center because it sets the line division location of travel. Setting travel line connections, the XT1000 comes in and scans position what you just finished drawing. Opens up communication to a new cyclone communication system. Okay, it high streams its line center in position location of directions. Okay, so it opens all line center locations, center position location right down to the center operation. Okay, sets a T-line strip in position location. Okay, opens up another channel line center into a TV box location. Now that recourse its channel, reverberates the high channel interference position off center direction. So this is how you change line center clocking. So you can change the clock line center into 24 to 144. So you're changing the geometry of the shape. So the shape is like this in position of direction. This thing goes in this position. And now it's over like this. And now it's like this. And now it's like this, right? It's repositioning, recalculating, right? Different clocking, different clocking, different clocking, different clocking. Different emotion, different emotion, different emotion, different emotion. So you have to tell exactly what you are interpreting to the brain, to the mind, because the mind is the telepathy of the telegraphing, of the telecommunication, of the transportation. Okay? So this helps you know ways and forwards coming in this line system. It's complicated stuff, right? But it's balance. It looks off balance to you, but not to me, right? Because I know exactly what I'm doing before I do these things to equation. There's no thinking in space, guys. There's no thinking in space and time. Only what you perceive is your next thought. So if you're creating your thought line and you're getting very confused with the brain system location, it's going to offline center locations into the negative system. Dark matter, dark realm, dark circle, dark portal. So you have to be very cautious in how you create these line system. So once you want to go to a higher line center and you're releasing line position locations from a 7-day window, you can go from a 7-day to a 14 to a 21 to a 48 to 1 million. You have 1 million graph information locations ready that is already stored in its cloud, waiting for you. When I went into 650 trillion years into the future, I knew exactly what I was doing through graph line system, getting all that information. Now, starting off at 5,000 line connections, that's 5,000 years of information given to me when I woke up. That puts me in 2020 into 2022. 2-year track line center, box interference, abundance, communication of flux capacitor, high channel, open all communication system to its activation core line. Puts position locations of 50 line centers in activation system. Ooh-ah. So in calculation, it's true to understand how to use this for your benefit, for your transformation, for your communications with yourself and each other through telepathy, okay, through the eye central, through the sonar, through the voice, and through the command, okay? So I know it's very powerful stuff, but it's amazing when you come into higher line center locations. You're going to hologram structure. So as you're releasing 7 graph line centers, let's go in position direction. All right, so this is set up in 7. That's up in 7. Let's see, go over in color so you can actually see it. 7 graph line center, right? 6 position, 5 position, 4 position, 3 position, 2 position, 1 in calculation. See? So what are you leaving in positional line connections all levels in XT line? XT, okay, equals 1%. 1% line interference. So once you understand the graph line center of structure, you change your graph interference location of its division, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now once you get into 1, you automatically come into 0 graph location. 0 graph. Because your hologram structure is nothing but letters, numbers, and shapes. You come into 0 graph. 0 equals graph for the first time. Congratulations, you're working your way up. 0 graph. Graph in position locations, you start off at 0, 0, 1. Location position, right? So once you get into 0 graph, you're traveling faster. Past Mach. You're Maching 1 to 12. Now, when you get out of 12 line center, you're in a higher formation location in its calculation, right? So it's your 12 DNA. Okay, let's go into location. 12 equals DNA. Okay. 12 equals DNA. Now, your 12 line center is its position location of its panel. Now you start off to 24, you work where you're at to 48, you come into 72, 12 stays in the center because 12 equals 12 is 24 location. 12 equals 12 is 24. So in position locations, you automatically 12 equals 144 and on. 144 equals Mach. Okay, so override, okay, trifactor, slash trifactor. Okay. So in calculation, this is pi. Ooh-ah. So it's your understanding how to use yourself. How do I understand where I'm going from and how far is it to get there? Well, it's all levels of your intent. What is your intent? What do you want to accomplish to that connections? That's what you got to look at, right? So if you stay at 144, you're going to get faster at data line system locations. You're going to get your upgrades, uplinkings, and uploading system faster and faster and faster. And you're going to have more graph line centers of future position location of directions, knowing that you've already traveled through these things. Now you're just waiting on signal because you're already 7 days ahead of everybody else. That's the future. So when you want it, it comes back to you. So in calculation, there's never a past. So when it comes back to you, it's in the now. It's not in the past. It's always in the now. See, everything that you do. But if you're in the past and you're bringing it forward, okay, you're in the past of the now. Okay? Past equals now, which is not good. Okay, because you're creating dark matter. Past equals now. Okay, so that's past, okay, over negative equals teleportation. That's not what you want to do. So in circular line system, you have to be cautious in how you use your delegation. Communication to its position of traction. All lines stay in the positive line center rotation. Positive equals operation. Back into teleportation, into a line center location to your tesseract, to your tetrahedron location to its position. Ooh-ah. Now you're back on track. So you took a track interference in position of a positive line center. You changed position, location, and directions, and put your force line into the positive line. Don't go back in position of past because the past becomes the now. Hoo-ah. It's not a good idea because now you're creating a new cyclone. And remember, you're creating force line center of dark over light. Dark is taken over light. D equals light. Dark. Okay, this is what comes in dark. Dark equals light. But you want to bring light equals dark. There's the positive. Light over dark. Not dark over light. Okay? So you don't want this. You want this. Why? Because it's light over dark. Yin and yang. Light over dark. Not dark over light. So it's a force line communication triangle. Sets positions of direction to this high system. Calculation of all lines of clocking line center to your emotional track. And how you use it is determination to its calculation, right? So it's mostly understanding is to get into the light and dark. You can use the dark equal line to light as a reference, but don't use it as a force because the yin and yang is going to back force line. And the colors are going to go. It's going to drop in signal, drop in position locations, and you're going to reach up a lower vibration. Less light and more dark. Okay? So, why is it so important for you to understand to be positive? I am positive. Don't try to be positive. Know you're positive. Put your positive line position locations and directions, and this is how you get things to its equation of yin and yang. Okay? So you have to bring that confidence line. You have to bring that position of going forward to know exactly what you're doing with the location of its position. Right? All right, taking code signal line center locations. Take the T-mount high center interference. All right, you guys are back. So understanding what you're doing is all loves of you. Why you're doing it is the how of operation. Okay, so you have to use everything in chronological order. Everything is given to you because the brain never ever lives in the negative cycle. Okay, the only time it's in a negative cycle line interference is your eco. Okay, because now you're creating dark over light. You got to bring dark over light into light over dark to balance the location of this equation. All right? Hoo-ah. All right. So, wow. What a great class. You guys got 5 minutes to get ready to go Zoom. See you soon. Adios.